Hi there, and welcome to the Anxiety Society podcast, brought to you by Jordan Devlin and Scott Hope. This is a show where you can listen to people talk about their life experiences in relation to mental health. Visit Jordan's Anxiety Society on Facebook for updates on how you can get involved in future podcasts. But for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Boof.
Right,
we're away.
Aye, that's
episode 11.
Episode 11 of the Anxiety Society podcast.
I'm sitting next to a fucking procrastinator here.
We've had 2 weeks off, so we apologise. It's a bit rusty in the early stages.
I'm actually shaking.
Aye, I'm shaking myself.
For no fucking reason. We've done this up, 10 times now.
Aye. But this is episode 11. Today we're joined by Kira Grant.
Hi.
Who is Steve Harris, Mrs., who was on episode 8, if you can remember, if you've listened to it. Scotty, what's been happening, son?
Know this anyway.
Okay.
It wasn't even a break that we wanted to take as well. It was just
cancellations and
we had like 4 cancellations in a row and we just couldn't.
There's only so much hours in the day you can devote to pissing about with.
And you couldn't just get drunk again and do it.
I know.
I actually swithered there that whether we would just do that again.
But
just get drunk. Aye, just get drunk again.
Turn into an alcoholic podcast.
Aye.
Complete opposite of what we're going for. But aye. So, Kira, how's it going?
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm really nervous.
Aye.
It's alright. Don't
I
worry
feel like
about
I'm
it.
sweating.
Aye.
You're not as nervous as Scott there.
I know.
You can see I'm trembling.
I know. I think it's the night shift jitters as well. I don't think
that
that's
coffee
helping.
just went straight to my
Aye,
head.
that's what it is.
I'm ready to go.
What do you do? How is there support night shift?
Well,
I'm a
T-shirt's
civil servant.
Ah, okay.
Aye.
I work on the railway.
Alright.
Aye. I shouldn't really be tired.
Aye.
But I am. I can't go into too much detail. I'll get the sack.
Aye, I'm the same. Civil servant is so vague. I'll tell you after we stop recording what the proper thing is.
So, what you been doing with yourself?
To be honest, we're just reopening. I'm working out of Harris's gym just now because obviously our one we closed during, was it January, I think? We basically got kicked out of our studio because of COVID and stuff, so our kind of reopening's been a bit dull, I suppose. It's not been as exciting as like everyone else getting to reopen, so it's been a bit of a shit like couple of months really, actually.
So what is it you do with your studio then? I can obviously Harris, he's got his, it's like an MMA type thing and stuff. So
ours was a pole studio, pole radio, so pole dancing, your pole fitness sort of stuff, and aerial hoop. We do other fitness stuff, but that's like what we specialise in, and what I've done for 10 years now.
Decent.
Well, did.
Aye.
Did it for 10 years.
Did you have the studio for that long?
Well, we had the studio in for 5 years. Obviously a year of that being COVID though.
Aye.
So 4 years of working, I suppose, from it.
So what studios have you had? Where about they been?
Carousel Fitness in Birkeeden. You'll know someone who goes to it or
who's
whatever,
been,
but we had about 200 girls as students, so you'll know someone that's done pole or been to the studio or whatever.
No, just a lassie I used to go out with, oh god, when I was at school, she used to go to one, it was up by the Carnegie.
Oh, Starlet, that was us as well.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was our studio before.
I'll not name any names, but aye, apart from that, so how you found it, if you've obviously seen you lost your studio and that, how did that come about?
So we, like when COVID first started, you know, like all the funding and that was available, we weren't entitled to it, our landlord was able to claim it, and then they claimed it we're still like charging us rent and stuff, and we didn't see any of the funding, and then obviously funds went low. By January we just were like, right, we're not paying anymore, like we're not funding you guys if we're getting this funding, and they told us to leave basically, so.
So the landlord was able to claim it on like your behalf?
Yeah, so it was based on rates.
Aye.
And he was still charging you to use the property?
Yeah, so we got like some discounts and stuff, but like, I mean, like the grants were like to cover
the business.
And even just like our living and stuff, like as much as like you've got your studio and that, we still had to like pay our own bills, which was when the grants should have kind of helped us out, but yeah, they claimed it for the building, there was a hairdresser's in it as well, and they closed the month before us because she couldn't afford, she gave up her house actually to try and keep her business, and then in the end had to leave her business as well.
There's definitely not been enough support. Like my sister, she's got her own beauty salon as well. The landlord didn't like hoover the money in that, but
Aye.
there was a payment break type thing, but it only lasted for X amount of months. But we've been in this situation for coming up for, what is it?
That's over a year.
18 months or something.
I think there was like a 3-month period when we were able to open, but apart from that, that's basically been us shut since March.
There's a lot of different industries that have been overlooked, I think.
Oh, totally. And like I think everyone's been kind of like put in the same like bracket, like regardless what your expenses are or what your outgoings are or your personal situations, like everyone just kind of got the same, lumped in the same category.
I suppose
that feels illegal.
Yeah,
I don't know if
we got a lawyer in that involved because we were like, surely like it can't be right, but like
you get away with that in a Tory government, mate.
So that
that's what the problem is.
The only protection that we could have is that they weren't able to kick you out for 3 months, so like they'd have to give you 3 months notice, but you'd still have to pay for those 3 months. So we were like, they could still kick us out after 3 months and we'd have to pay while we're not working, we're not using it, so we're like, there's no point, we're just like, cut our losses and leave.
So were you not entitled to like a separate grant, like so outside of that one?
You can get like your self-employment one, which was like 80% off your like profits. But obviously you need that for covering your home and your food and stuff, like not your business. So
just
it just cut the losses, like when we weighed up the options, it was just financially not possible to keep it going. And we didn't want to be in that like kind of environment either with people that had done that to us, like knowing our situation, and still kind of went ahead and told us to leave basically.
It's a bit different because it's a very specific industry in that you're teaching within the fitness world there. So it's different. So like say PTs and that are based in gyms, it's a lot easier to say run classes through Zoom and that because you didn't need it's minimal equipment. Whereas obviously if you're needing poles and that, you can't just chuck one of them up anywhere.
Somewhere new as well, like it's not as if we can just be like, oh we'll just work out of here for however long, like you need like certain ceiling heights, you need even like planning permission because like we'd have to like alter a building so much to make it like suit what we want to do. Just like flooring and everything, so it's not like we can just walk into our new premises and be good to go, and not many people want pole dancers next door to them surprisingly, so yeah, they got that as well.
Be swinging for the lampposts.
That's all we've got now.
So in terms of obviously losing your studio and that, because you've obviously worked hard to get to that stage, how did it feel kind of losing it?
Oh, it was, do you know, I think it was more rough when we hadn't made a decision to like leave it, whereas like once we made a decision it almost felt like a weight off our shoulders. Like it was coming, like we knew it was going to happen the longer like COVID went on for, so like that was probably like a harder period than actually making the decision to throw in the towel, because then it kind of felt like it was us that was in control and we were the ones that had said like right, that's enough, like we're not putting any more time and energy into this, like we're going to leave. So yeah, like I definitely say like the end of last year and like the very start of this year was rough, like.
It's just when you need to take into account expenses, if you can't cover that, then you're just on a sinking ship.
Yeah, and as much as like we love what we're doing and we're not in it for like the money and stuff, like you have to.
There comes a point, you do.
Like you can't say that forever.
COVID's affected everything, or a lot of businesses in that. Like my situation's a bit different. Obviously, I've got a football team, and we've obviously had no interaction with the players or that in about since December. So it's coming up, it's 5 months, and it's not back to contact training until the 17th of May. So we've went back there. I think we've only got 8 players. We went for like 20 or doing 8. So I'm kind of at a point now where as if do I chuck it? Granted, it's not the same because I'm not losing money for it really. Because it's obviously just like
it's so hard for folk to come back though, like you totally understand, like if folk have been away for something for 5 months, like how nervous they will be, and like
when they've found other things and that,
it's easy for them just to like drop off in that rather than coming back.
But it's maybe similar to what you're feeling, you didn't want to let go of it, something that you've worked so hard to make, but at the same time you need to weigh it up, is it worth putting the time, money and that into it?
And you're just dragging something out that's not even there anymore. Totally.
100%.
I fucking hate COVID, man. Honestly, it's been such a pain in the arse.
It's looking good now, though.
It's looking. I'm still wary. It's just gone. I know. We've done this before. We've been here before.
Yeah, half price meals.
I know.
Straight
That was
back
good.
in.
I want to do that again. That was alright.
Jack O'Brien's up in Dunfermline are doing it.
Are they?
Yeah, to help out.
Yeah.
They better give sponsorship.
But
That's
you need
right.
it. You need it, and it's extortionate, like, but the scram's decent. So I just going back to the start, childhood wise and that, growing up through school, obviously to where you are now. What's your kind of background story?
So I've always been really into fitness and stuff. I'm from Cowdenbeath, basically my whole family is. But in high school, it's the most random thing I've ever done, canoe slalom. I'm sure you've seen it on like the Olympics and that. But I was in the British team and we like travelled Europe and stuff. So like I think that's like where my background in fitness kind of came from in the first place, was from doing that. But I also think that's probably where a lot of like my issues with like being nervous and stuff like came from as well, because I was like in like an adult environment at the age of like 13, 14, like travelling out with my parents and stuff.
Right.
And I also think that's what's like put me into like a female dominant industry, because it was like very male dominant. I remember I hate no offence,
No, I'm taking
I hated it.
Aye.
Like,
Understandably as well.
So yeah, I think that's kind of what put me into what I do now.
It's weird, like that's the sort of thing that I would always watch when the Olympics is on, but never outside it.
Yeah.
How did you even find your way into it?
It was actually a come and try canoe thing at Cowdenbeath Leisure Centre when I was like 9 or something, and then it just kind of went from
clapper with a paddle.
from there. But yeah, and I didn't even like getting cold like walking to Asda's or that, so like I don't know how I ever done that. I used to get like changed in fields and that, like just having your bikini like totally shivering, like ice in my hair and stuff, so I wouldn't recommend it. Like,
how was it as an overall experience? Obviously you were very young, so see when you say you were travelling around Europe, is that without any like parents, guardians or that?
I'd often, because I was the only girl, like I'd often have to have like more of my dad coming with me. They'd do like 1 or 2 trips on my own when another girl joined the team, and then but we'd done like down to England and that a lot, like without my parents.
That would have been an experience, especially at that age.
Yeah.
Was that a little bit intimidating?
I didn't think it was at the time, but see now looking back, like things that I don't like doing and stuff, I'm like, yeah, that I can see why. It definitely came from there. But like it was so full on and stuff as well. Like we'd have to be put through like fitness tests and stuff, and like I think this is why I'm like so like body positivity, because we'd get like you'd be like weighed and you'd get like the calipers to tell you how fat you were, and like all of this at like 14, 15 getting told that like, oh, like you've got 28% body fat, like, you know, we need to get you down to like 15 or something to be in line with the other female athletes. So yes, I think that's like kind of what's drove me into the kind of...
Sounds quite demanding, eh?
Yeah, and it was always like male coaches and stuff, and like they just didn't understand like women growing up and how it's not the same. You can't speak to me the same as you do to the guys, because I will tell you to fuck off. Hormones are very different. Like a 15-year-old boy who's like, yeah, sure, like I'll do that. Like no, I fucking won't. Like it is cold. Leave me alone. So yes, I really think that's now why I do like an indoor, really warm female environment. All love each other's bodies.
Quite right.
That's weird. I think sometimes that's overanalyzed in sport. I know that I'm a professional in any way whatsoever, but just like just the like that whole. My missus is a footballer, and she had a pal. I'm not going into names of that, but she was at a big club, and they were really into sort of like into weighing her, and it was because she was underweight. But she was like, I'm eating fine, like just, and they actually wouldn't let her play or wouldn't let her train because she was too underweight. But she was like, I'm eating fine, I feel fine, just let me play. Yeah. And it just got progressively worse. That like every time, like they wouldn't let her train, it would make her more nervous and more insecure. Yeah. And our way out of that before was playing football, and she wasn't allowed to do it because of all this fucking over analysis sort of stuff.
Like male sportsmen as well, but the pressure that's put on to like your body and your size and your weight and stuff is just mad.
I feel like, especially when lassies are already, I feel self-conscious about things like that as it is, so without being told, whether it's a male or female, telling you like you're overweight.
Yeah.
Like they normally refer it to the BMI, but I don't agree with that in the slightest.
BMI's. I think everybody realises that BMI's fucking complete
Like never
nonsense.
come up with that.
Aye.
Like, it's been and gone, mate. Behave yourself. I can mind first getting told about it. Like obviously you look at like bodybuilders, they're all classed as like obese. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah. Well, like, according to like the NHS, like I'm overweight and I would need to lose like 5 kilograms to be like healthy weight, and I'm like probably fitter than like, the majority of people who are in that category.
I want to see somebody in that category.
Yeah.
Like, nah.
I think the last time I did with myself was overweight. Well, I would have been overweight in BMI as well. I was overweight for my physical exam that I got for work. I was
It's mad that you can just like type
overweight.
it into like the website and it comes up and like, yeah, so obese, and you're like,
Aye.
The person in the medical actually said, he was like, well, apparently you're overweight. He was like, absolutely not. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So in terms of obviously playing canoeing, taking part in the canoeing British team and stuff, and obviously you said it's a pretty male dominant sort of avenue of sport. So how did it feel in terms of like being no dictated but having all your sort of, I'm just trying to think of the words as I can.
So like your sort of like your life like dominated by like a male.
Aye.
Yeah, like I say, it's like I don't think I ever thought about it at the time. Like my brother was also in the team as well, so like it was a bit like I was always, I don't want to say like the tag along. I swear I was actually quite but yeah, like so I was always kind of just like under the radar a little bit, and I was like in the shadows. So I feel that kind of like affected like my self-esteem a lot, definitely. But then it was like because I was the only female, I'd be compared to them, like would be training together, racing together, like so I would always be, because genetically it's just how it is. Women are not as strong, don't have as much testosterone, like we're not going to be performing to the same standard as the guys were, and so you know you're always like it's time, so it was like you're always 10 seconds behind, or you're a bit slower, or like if you were doing something at the same time, you felt like everyone was waiting for you and stuff. So yeah, like it was a bit tough, and I know even still like I've not done it for about 10 years, but the sport is still a lot more male dominated than female, and I know quite a few of the girls are now starting to speak up about how they're needing changes and things, and they're needing coaches who understand women, because obviously now a lot of the coaches were the people who I trained with at the like 10 years ago, but it was all guys, so most of the coaching team is men trying to train like 14, 15, 16-year-old girls, and they don't understand, like they don't understand things like even like the contraception, like how that will affect them, like their hormones, just like growing up and stuff as a female, just don't get it.
And I think every man is sort of naive to that, and as soon as it's mentioned, sort of men go like, nope,
yeah,
no,
like,
I'm not, and especially like a coach that has no experience in that, like dealing with 14, 15-year-old girls. I know I would personally be like, I'm at my depth here.
Well, I even remember like thinking, I don't have a clue, and like it just made me like such a moody teenager, because I was like, how dare you assume how I'm feeling? Like, yes, I'm slower than them, but of course I am.
And the thing is, like, you can read as much books or that as you want, without like experiencing it, you're never going to be able to compare.
Yeah.
So do you think you were expected to do as good as the boys? For a coach's point of view?
I don't think like time wise or anything, but mentally I think they expected me to behave and kind of perform the same as like the guys did. Probably a bit different now, I'm sure they've got a bit more understanding, but like with like dietitians, psychologists, all of this, and it was a female psychologist, and I always remember like she never picked up that I had anxiety or anything, like that wasn't something that I didn't find out until I was older. And I was like, that's kind of the people that should have been helping the coaches be like, oh, like there's serious issues here, like we need to kind of take a step in, and rather than training everyone the same, and like even the guys, I suppose there must have been some of them that wouldn't like react to the same approach that they were taking, but it was very like, you know, they did expect you to learn the same way, do the same type of training, like the training wasn't adapted in any way, like I was expected to keep up with them, like yeah, okay, they knew I'd be 10 seconds slower, but they still thought she'll do the exact same session, she'll do the same fitness test, she'll like compete in the same races, she'll do the I don't know, it's like 4 or 5 weeks travelling around Europe like at the age of like 15, and it wasn't like they never thought like that different people, especially like men to women, have different needs kind of at that age.
It's like getting one jacket to fit everybody. It's just not going to work, is it? Everybody learns in different ways. Like, I'm a very visual learner, so I like to see things getting done and then it just clicks with me. But I can what you mean about that. Like, you need to sort of adapt to who you're speaking to.
Yeah, totally.
Granted, you're all doing the same thing, you've all got the same end goal, but folk learn in different ways.
Definitely.
So, and I certainly think that they need to do a little bit more work in terms of coaching wise, whether it be kids, males, females and that, and how to approach folk and speak to folk.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure it's like a lot better now.
I was
you would hope.
with another lass, we've got another lass that's coming on, it's very similar to your story. It's within the fitness industry, it's a different sport and that, but very similar about the males just no getting it.
Yeah, nah.
I'm sitting here like I ken it all. I actually didn't. I thought I was quite clued up on the whole like contraception side of things and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was watching a TikTok the other day. I'll show you after it, but honestly, I didn't came at this thing. This lassie was showing up. I was just like, what the fuck is that? I had to go through the comments there. I was like, Christ almighty, man, I need to get better at this.
Yeah.
I know, it's a rough subject, mate.
I know.
And I think it's just, I don't know what it is about men that you just go, nope. I'm
genuinely weird.
And it's just biology, it's not any fucking...
I think it's until you have a daughter you'll not have a clue.
I think even when you've got a daughter...
I know.
It's like, even when we mention pole dancing, it makes people so awkward and like, people laugh and people are always like, oh, but it's fitness, eh? And you're like, well, nah, like not always, like people can dance. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it makes people feel so uncomfortable. Even like my Instagram, obviously it's for pole, like you do wear like basically like pants and a crop top, and it makes so many people like really uncomfortable. And it's like, have you seen a guy with their top off in shorts? No one would even be pleased. Like, it doesn't make anybody bother. But it's like, it just shows like the difference still. Like, and you kind of think that we're a lot further on than we are when it comes to like men and women and like equality and stuff. But there's still that kind of like stigma around.
I think men tell ourselves that it is equal and.
Yeah.
But when you sit and think about it, I don't think the same opportunities are there. Not at all.
No. But just in relation to that pole dancing thing, do I get where it's maybe comes across as uncomfortable? I'd say aye.
Yeah.
Just because, this is personal opinion, when you're watching films and that growing up, you wouldn't see somebody doing pole as fitness on the telly. The boy would walk into the strip club and then that's when you see it.
But I think that's like, this is the thing as well, is everyone wants to like separate like pole that we do and like strippers and strip clubs, but that's where it came from. Like, we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for strippers and strip clubs, and so many of the people who are teaching in your fitness studios are strippers, have been strippers, any kind of like sex work or anything, and for some reason that like society doesn't class that as something that we should respect, and like it's a job, it's their choice, it's their bodies. Like, so for us to try and say like, oh, like what we do is fitness, like we are not associated with them, it's like not only a lie, but it's so disrespectful to like the people who created it. Like, it'd be like, I don't know, I'm trying to think, it'd be like, even like looking back at football, like when the rules have changed and that, like you wouldn't say like, well, that wasn't football back then, you know, like that was totally different, we don't associate with that. Like,
I think MMA is probably a good example of that. Like the origins of the UFC, where people were getting punched in the balls and that, and there was zero rules at all. Like, that's still MMA. Like, it's where it came. So I get that.
So how does that make you feel? Like, obviously, so say you do bring up the subject, like say there's a male dominance in the room and that, and you do start to feel uncomfortable. How does that kind of make you feel? Because it's obviously something you're passionate about and stuff.
Totally. Like, I think before, like a lot, like even you find like when people start, they're always like, even like on Instagram they'll hashtag like not a stripper, or like they'll like make this big point, whereas now you're like, that would be a compliment, like seriously, like these girls in these clubs are like so hot, and like if you think I'd do that, like that is cool, because like if you're like cut your mate's hair, you wouldn't like hashtag and be like, oh my god, like I'm not a hairdresser, like, I don't want anyone to think that, like don't get the wrong end of the stick. But like it's still a career, it's still a female dominant industry, that
a career that can probably make you very wealthy too.
Totally. By like, and it's like, they think that like the females are exploited, and like that's kind of what like men, like how many men as well would be like, oh, like, you know, I'm not that type of guy that goes to a strip club, and I'm like, what, like you don't go to a pub where women are dancing? Like, of course you do. Like every guy does. So yeah, so I always think it's funny when like guys do like sit up on a high horse and like kind of laugh about it or joke about pole dancing, because I'm like, I don't really know what's funny. Like I don't get it because strip clubs are great. Like what's wrong with them? They've gave us this thing, and I think like so many women actually come to pole and enjoy it, and because like women are taught that they have to be modest, and it's like slut shamed all the time, like girls in general. Whereas like when you're like in a pole studio or even in that environment, like they're taking kind of back control of something that men have tried to like tell them isn't appropriate and have kind of like dominated over, like the female body. They're like in there and like they're cropped up in their pants, and they feel sexy and they feel really good about themselves for them, as opposed to trying to be degraded and stuff. So yeah, I think it's a really positive thing for women, and I think like we need to like get rid of the idea that we're separate from or better than, you know, the stigma of strippers and stuff, because it's not a stigma, it's exactly right. Like it's 100% that's where it came from, is these women that created what we do now.
It's a bit of a weird one, because I want to say it must take a lot of courage to put yourself in that situation, but at the same point it shouldn't it?
Yeah, totally. And I think like it's definitely getting less. Like, so I started 10 years ago, and there was definitely a lot more like I always remember like people would laugh when you'd say like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I teach pole, and they'd be like, oh, like I could never do that, and I'm like, yeah, probably not. Like you probably couldn't. I don't know why you're laughing. You know, if like you were like to me like, oh, I don't know, like I'm a joiner, I would be like, oh, like I could never be a joiner. Like, you just don't do that.
Fucking no shit.
Yeah, you're right. Like I've never qualified, so of course I can't do that. So yeah, like that was like a big thing. Like when I first started, like people were kind of like shocked by it and stuff. But now I feel like you said, it's like yeah, it's good. Like everyone now knows someone who's been to pole or done a pole class or whatever, so there's definitely less kind of like it's just more acceptable and more open in that now, rather than, because like even before I started, like your pole classes and what we think is like pole fitness and stuff was taught in strip clubs. Like you had to go to like a bar or whatever to learn it, even if you didn't want to make money from it. So yeah, it just kind of like evolved into like studios and fitness, like even Gym 64, we taught there for a little while and stuff. So yeah, it's just got like bigger, which is good. Like it is.
Have you travelled? Like, have you done any competitions or like in terms of like the actual? Like, is that something that actually happens? Like, I'm sorry to be so fucking naive about the whole thing. But.
Yeah, so there's like world championships and stuff. I've done a few international comps. England's kind of like, there's not much up in Scotland for pole, like it's still technically small and new in Scotland, whereas like London and England have a lot more comps and stuff. So there's not been any like this year, but I've competed in quite a few in the past. But yeah,
so have you noticed like a difference travelling like in other countries, like how it's perceived?
Like it's actually 100%. So the Russians are just fucking amazing. Like they're like that every sport, like at the Olympics. That's definitely the Russians. Yeah, they're like absolutely phenomenal. But they're training like kids now. Like I know we do kids class and that here, but like you've got like 5 and 6 year olds training. Like they see it as a sport. Like most of them anyway. And then you've got we've got different instructors starting to like travel to different countries and teach. So it's kind of getting like. More countries are getting involved in like your world championships and stuff. But yeah, like I feel like when you go to like a competition or whatever, it's still so small. Like that's the truth. Like the industry in general is so small compared to any other sport. So there's like when you go to a comp, it's not like competitive as such. Like it's quite like you're all backstage in the same changing room and we're covered in glitter and like nipple tassels and like you're helping each other into their outfits and stuff. So like everyone's kind of got a similar mindset and like mentality, regardless of kind of the country or whereabout you're from.
I've just got a wee question.
Yeah.
Because it's 2021, have you ever had boys in that coming to get lessons? Aye.
Yeah, so there's, like, if you go on YouTube, you'll be absolutely amazed at like some of the men. It's very much like, if you go to a comp, you'll maybe have like 3 men and you'll have like 50 women. So they're very much like the minority, but it is getting more popular. And I'm sorry, but if you're a straight guy, it's a smart industry to get into.
Opens a lot of doors.
Like, we're all sharing changing rooms. We don't care. Like, I feel like it's the smart ones that are getting into it. But yeah, like, we've got so many guys, and I know I feel like shock so many people because I feel like our Dunfermline areas would be quite like small and stuff, but like so many of the men are good at like the heels side of things and like the sexy style and the stripper style. There's some of the comps, so they're like split into categories. So you've got like the category of like heels, and then you've got like I competed in a comp called Pole Art, so like they've just got like different kind of vibes and stuff. And some of the men are now starting to win like the heels comps and stuff, which, you know, like 10 years ago would have been non-existent really. There was barely any comps anyway. But yeah, it's like nice seeing like people being able to express themselves regardless, and it's also opened like an industry up to more and more people who actually want to express themselves in that way and maybe couldn't do it in any other kind of industry. Like, yeah, like sexuality and stuff, like it's not like a taboo thing in like the pole industry. It's like, yeah, like if you feel hot doing that, like you do that. It doesn't matter if you're wanting to like wear leggings and long sleeve tops with a hat on, or if you're wanting to wear like nipple tassels and a thong and a pair of heels. It doesn't matter like your body shape, your gender, your sexuality, anything. Like that's totally
if that's what you want to express yourself, then that's what to do.
Everyone's like there to cheer it on and stuff.
I think we're definitely much better in regards to, I wouldn't say so much the gender section, but like your sexuality. I think that's completely disregarded these days, which is great.
Yeah.
Regardless.
I'd say there's still like a bit of like there's always going to be people who are like
gonna get that,
and like there's always going to be that, but I do like to think that like things are moving in the right direction for sure.
Aye, I'd agree with that. Is that sort of a kind of new thing then, that males have sort of come into the pole industry, or has it always been a thing?
I'd say more straight males. There's always been like gay men have always kind of came through the door and like took part in classes. But our studio has always been predominantly female, but like across the board, there's definitely a lot more men starting to come into it. But like it's so good for you, like the actual like strength to weight ratio like that you need to be able to do it. And I just think a lot of men don't do it because they're actually intimidated that they're not going to be as good as the women that are, you know, like if it's their partner or whatever and they come along and obviously their missus is 10 times better than them at it, like it's a proper like kick to the ego, innit? So they're like not wanting to look bad in front of a room full of 10 women who are like a lot stronger than them, pulling themselves up the pole with just their arms and stuff. So yeah, I think
it's quite similar to, is it calisthenics?
Yeah, totally.
Just pure body weight stuff. Folk doing like one arm pull-ups aren't that hard.
Alright.
That's what I know. When they couldn't catch me, didn't they?
I get, but I know that's certainly good to hear it, that it is getting a little bit more open in that, and folk are encouraging it instead of stigmatising it and thinking.
I know it's actually proper made me think like just like how I would entice like females to do MMA and go, oh, you'll be fine just going to the class, honestly, it'll be fine. And then if a female says to me, I just got to pole, you'll be fine, I'll be like, oh, I can see about that.
Couple of days, Scott, we'll go to one session.
We will,
see how
we definitely will.
We'll see how we go.
It's the same as like we were saying before about how like you can't just treat everybody the same when they're walking into like the environment. Like with Harris's gym as well, like he obviously does like his ladies only classes because they do need spoke to a different way, they need different types of training, they're a lot more like technical, they actually don't want to hit each other in the face, like surprisingly, like we don't want to hurt each other, whereas the guys are more than happy to get stuck straight in, like flung in at the deep end. So it's the same for like guys coming into like a pole studio, like if they're trying to be like 20 women who want to move and dance a certain way, and they don't, which is totally fine. Like, do what you want, but we do have to kind of be aware that you have to adapt to suit other people, like other kind of like ways of learning and how they feel comfortable. Like they're not going to feel comfortable coming in, and you know, the women are like, you know, we do like we're bitching about our men and we're like solving world problems that women have, and they're going to be like this wasn't what I signed up for. So yeah, maybe like a male only class would be more suitable.
I know. Hopefully the uptake would be there if that was something that you were to put on. I need a fucking ladder though. There's no two ways about it. Aye, just pull yourself up, Paul. Aye, good.
I need a set of gloves. I've no grips. But can you remember the first time you ever stepped into a pole class for the first time and how you felt?
Yeah, I do actually. I started in so it was a dance studio. A girl called Laura McFadden, her studio, and it felt totally fine. Like, I wasn't nervous. I'm considered the most nervous person on the planet. I wasn't nervous at all. Really nice environment. And
how old were you at that?
17.
So that's still fairly young, to be fair.
Yeah, and like it wasn't really a thing around this area then either. I'd seen like stuff on YouTube and that, and I'd literally was just kind of in the stage of like stopping canoeing, so it was such like a male dominant thing that was actually really nice to take part in like a class of all females run by a female teacher, and no one cared like what your fat percentage was. No one was like bothered about like, oh, how quick did you do this? It was just about like more socialising, having fun, getting a cool photo to post on Facebook, and Instagram was even around then. But yeah, it was just like a nice change in environment, and
which hobbies should be, and it's nice enjoyable instead of
especially going into something for the first time. Like it was a total relaxed environment. Like it was really nice.
I'm kind of not to do canoeing then.
I know.
Sounds like
it must be nice to like be more. I'm not saying people can't express themselves through canoeing. I'm sure they do, but but to be exactly. But to be in a more like expressive sort of like an sort of art form.
Yeah, definitely just suited my personality better as well. But yeah, I definitely think that like it's an art and not like a sport, because like canoeing was very much like a sport. It just had results at the end of it. You done it as quick as you could, and you just tried to get better all the time. Whereas like the thing with pole is that you're not even trying to always get better. Like you can just stick on a pair of heels or your joggies and just dance. Like it doesn't even have to be to do with strength or flexibility or anything. It can just be about enjoying yourself, like moving your body, like just feeling good.
I think the one sport I'd compare it to is diving.
Diving?
I don't know why, but there's nothing. It's not really against the clock or that, but it's about the complexity, the skill that you're trying to accomplish. Yeah. So who knows? We might see pole at the Olympics in years down the line.
You would hope. You would hope that would be.
Do you think it is something that can be judged like that?
Yeah, and there's lots of like federations set up to like try and get it into the Olympics, and to like and to like try and judge it more like on points, and like if you do like a certain move you get like X amount of points or whatever. But like my worry about it going to that kind of stage is that it stopped, you know, your mid-30-year-old women who have got a few kids and just want to feel good about themselves. There's not going to I worry that there's not that class for them to go to where they just get to, you know, enjoy themselves. But I worry that it would mean that it was like a sport and it would be kind of changing what's good about it just now. It's for everybody just now, whereas if we started putting like in the Olympics and, you know, we started getting like these kids to train 5-6 times a week, so that, you know, because it'll be like, I'd imagine anyway, it would go like gymnastics. It will be pretty young, really petite females, obviously men as well, that would be the ones who were good at it, and, you know, folk would be like, oh, like they've got the great body type for it, like we'll put them into pole, as opposed to
so that's when it kind of changes from the hobby to the chore.
Yeah,
similar to what the canoeing was. That is the most iconic line you've come with in this whole series of the podcast.
Express yourself through canoeing, I'm sure it's possible. I think it's sort of like a wee bit of catch-22 that you want the sport to do well, but at the same time you don't want it to lose what it is.
And what it means to other people, like, because all the girls that are doing it just now, you know, they don't want to go to the Olympics. Like, they want to turn up to a studio after like a hard day at work and feel good about themselves, and you do kind of worry that it would be like,
because then they'd compare themselves to these maybe Olympic athletes then.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's happening to every sport.
I think every sport goes through that.
If you look at, say, football, for example, like all these men, they used to work like doing the pit and that, and then they'd go up, play football, they'd get a no bad wage for it, playing for like teams like Celtic and Rangers. But these days it's just all money based. Like, I'm not going to play for you unless I get this amount. I'm like, you should play it for the love of the game. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's too money driven.
Then I'd say MMA and Jiu-Jitsu is probably going through that exact transition just now, where like it used to be sort of like an underground sport, and now it's completely in the mainstream, and you're getting like proper athletes that are entering, like choosing where they've maybe got the choice of playing, like especially America, where they've got like American football, baseball, and they've gotten these scholarships. People are opting to do MMA instead now, and it's just completely changing the sport. And like with me doing jiu-jitsu, I've done jiu-jitsu for a couple of years now, and it's sort of gone through that sort of thing as well, when even in the last couple of years where it used to be my hobby, and then I've seen people come through the door that I know, and I'm like, you bastard, this is my thing, and then there's other people coming in and like, but I think that's just the way when things got popular, that's
I think as well, like society in general, like fitness and like healthy lifestyles more fashionable now, so like more people are finding different ways to keep fit, or like different clubs and stuff to join. They want to have that kind of like active, healthy lifestyle. So all these, I suppose it was kind of like, it's a unique thing, like jits and stuff as well, isn't it? Like before there wasn't that many people doing it. More people are kind of getting on board because they're like, oh, it looks really cool, or like it's a good way to get fit, or that'll look good on Instagram because I can post about it. Like,
that's definitely a big point as well. Just people
want to appear to have a healthy lifestyle.
It's just complete bollocks at the end of the day, isn't it?
I even think that, I often think like the audacity I've got, like posting some of the shit on Instagram, and I'm sitting there in my onesie, with a glass of wine, stuffing my face with chocolate, and I'm like posting a picture of me on the pole, like looking great. I'm like, oh god, what a lie.
Thing is, you need to be proud of what you've achieved. And
but I do think we need to be more realistic. Like, I definitely think Instagram's causing so many insecurities and problems, and people acting as if they're so happy, and even like they're like, oh, like posting about going to like a club or whatever that they actually don't enjoy, but because it kind of suits their narrative. And
I bet that happens so much, it's unbelievable that the people post like, oh, that they've been here, been there, and they hated it when they were there, but big smile outside like that. Aye, good.
I went through a time where folk were taking loads of photos when they were abroad somewhere, and then when they'd get home they'd pretend that they were away abroad somewhere else again, but just repost the photos they'd taken when they were abroad the last time. I was just like, worst ones for it, Forex traders. Aye.
Forex traders,
Forex traders, man, Christ almighty. I mean, I can't say anything. I can still post things that's fake, I could post a dick in. I don't care what I post normally, but it could be totally bullshit, but folk could be like, oh, that looks amazing. And I'm just sitting there fucking miserable, like you say.
Yeah, totally.
What's on miserable? You had a glass of wine.
Yeah, I was having a great time. But
I know, I just deleted Instagram again there. I'm going off grid again. It's
like promoting it your wealth is massive on Instagram. I think I've been guilty of that, but I'm clearly not. I've got a couch on tick, you know what I mean?
It's just like the fake lifestyle, and it's so damaging, like, and you get so caught up in it.
I know.
Like thinking like how great your mates are and their lives are and whatever, and you're like, oh, like, mine's is shit. And it's not.
That's not.
Everyone's is so it's so similar. It's like even like celebrities and stuff, like I do think it's good that like more people are coming out and it's like normalising like normal bodies and like even like normal homes and stuff, you know. Folk, like even like you say, it's like going on Zoom or whatever, you're like moving stuff to the side so they actually think that you have a tidy house. Like, everyone's on the same thing, so if we all just admitted that our house was like a shithole, everyone would be happier.
But it's social media, it's definitely one of the things where it's either brilliant or it's terrible.
I don't think it's good for me at all, man.
No.
It kills me. I sort of go through periods of deleting it and then getting it back.
Withdrawal symptoms.
I sort of gain perspective again.
Right.
And once I've had a couple of months off, and then I feel like right, I'm probably alright with it now, because you do miss out on stuff when you're on social media, and I think what's going to be difficult is we kind of need it for this. Like I hate it, and I don't think it's good for mental health, but at the same time, like this is
it's good for like raising awareness.
So again, another fucking catch-22 that
unless we get a megaphone and walk about the streets shouting anxiety.
I've seen a motor about the election today going up with a big megaphone. Absolute nutcases, man.
100%.
But you know as well, like a lot of people in like shit places that are sitting on Facebook and Instagram scrolling through it, so it is good to get things like this out there and like on people's news feeds and stuff.
I mean, I do it myself. You wake up in the morning, you don't even consider when you're getting out of bed, you just grab the phone and just refresh, go through TikTok, whether it be Facebook, I've not got Twitter anymore, but all these different apps, Insta.
Yeah, and they're all the same as well, but you look through it every single one of them.
I think I was listening to a podcast and it just terrified me that and they explained it as OCD. Like you don't even like you've not got an end goal when you're going on Instagram. It's not like you're going on to like or going to your phone to Google something, or like you've not got you're just going on to scroll. And I noticed when I deleted it, there was actually, I don't know if I've still got my phone, but there's a space where Instagram used to be, and I picked up my phone, like put my password in it and went like that, and went to press on there where the gap was, and I went to press on the gap, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Like muscle memory.
Aye, and that's what it's pure. It's just OCD. I'm not even going on to look at anything. I just picked up. I was sitting watching the telly. I picked up my phone like that, and went to put it in the space, and I was like, oh my, what are you doing? What are you going on there for? I was like, I'm so glad I deleted it. I feel actually I deleted it for about 2 days, and I feel better already.
What, you deleted Insta?
Aye, and it's just fucking. It's not good for you, man. It really isn't it? But at the same time, I need it. Sometimes, like it's
been like obviously like over COVID and stuff. Like everything's moved online, so you feel like if you aren't on it, like you're even missing out on like communication and stuff, like chatting to folk. Even like folk were doing like some of their work stuff through like Facebook groups and that. Like, all of our stuff we had to go online, so you couldn't just like take yourself away from it. And I feel like that just got so addictive, and it just makes you compare yourself, and that's literally all it is. You're just comparing photos of people, of lives, of houses, of holidays, and you I think people are doing things just for like influencers and things. Like they're going places and are wearing clothes just so they can post it on social media, and I feel like in like 10-20 years time we're going to be like, mind that time we all done that. Like that was not healthy.
I do think it will be like smoking. Like you see, like people 50 years ago just actually thought it was healthy. Yeah, and then you're like, what the fuck were you thinking back then? I think it'll be the exact same. It's healthy.
It's a strange one, eh? What was that bastard I'm gonna say there? So like when I was speaking to psychologist, I don't know, there's a difference between the two of them. I was just a therapist. He was talking about something called mindfulness.
Right, yeah.
And it's all about kind of living in the moment. It's like how everybody's lives these days are frantic, and everybody's like, oh, I need to do this so I can do that, or I'm not going to be happy until I've got that. It's just about living for that fucking moment in time. And there was something that, it was like a tape that you got you to listen to. And basically what you done was you grabbed a raisin out a bag and you kent every single thing about this raisin. It was like asking you to like rub it in between your fingers so you got the texture of it, put it up to your nose, smell it, like rub it against your lips so you can feel it like that. I was just like, that's fucking strange, But it's actually mental because 5 minutes ago and you've only got one raisin. Whereas he says, what would you do in your unlighting raisins? You'd put your hand into the bag, scoop a horn for them, and not on back, don't even consider anything about it. But it's just about kind of getting your head into the mindset of just living for the moment, no being in a hurry.
And you can't kind of like the things that you take for granted because your head's like thinking about something else.
100%.
That's why I love doing this, because you can't afford to think about anything else apart from the conversation you're having, because you have fucking mind blanks like that, because you were obviously there trying to think about what you were going to say
the whole time,
and not even listening, and then as soon as it stopped, like
raisins,
I forgot what I was going to say. And I'm guessing that's what Paul would do for you as well. Just the exact same, like, just an hour. Aye.
I'm actually really excited to go just to watch myself cunt it.
I know. It's going to be embarrassing, mate. We're going to have to do it though.
The only thing I can think of in terms of similar to that, mind when George Sampson won Britain's Got Talent and he done that thing on the lamppost.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be able to do. That's
like you'll actually be surprised at like how like guys do tend to take to it quite well because these are naturally genetically stronger and you've got more kind of strength to weight ratio. But girls tend to be like technically better because they want to get things pretty and they do it well and they've got really good musicality. So like guys do tend to, obviously it does overlap, but a lot of guys tend to just want to do like the strength moves and thing, which is fine, like if that's what they want to do. But they're always like a lot better at it than they think they're going to be. And they always kind of like make a joke and that about it, and then when they actually get to it, it gets like really competitive. They're like, actually, I want to be able to do this. Like, I was laughing before, but no, like I want to be able to flag, or I want to be able to like pull myself out of my hands or whatever. So yeah, I think you would be surprised.
We'll be fucking singing in the rain in no time, mate.
So see, in terms of when you're teaching a class and a boy was to come in and want to do it, how do you think that would make you feel and the group feel? Obviously being like predominantly lassies, because say it was an MMA environment or something, when yous are all ready to go, like you've all got your like warheads on and that, and a lassie strolls in and she wants to take part, it affects your mindsets, doesn't it? So just in terms of your scenario and Paul, and if a boy was to come in, whether he be gay, straight, it doesn't really matter, how does it sort of make you feel?
I think like for us, because like Paul does tend to attract like people who are needing like a safe space and maybe kind of wanting a female only environment. So if I did have a guy booking in, I would 100% let them know and also let the women in the class know. And I'm try not to get into like the not all men thing. Alright, I won't go there. But you know, like quite a few of the women who come, they will feel that that's like a safe space for them. So we do have to like be careful about stuff like that. Especially because if it's took them a year to build up to wearing a crop top and shorts because they feel self-conscious, you don't want to like undo that by putting, you know, like something like I don't want to say like changing their environment, but putting something they didn't expect in the class that would make them feel uncomfortable. So yes, I would definitely like discuss it with if I felt like I had a vulnerable person in my class who might be like triggered by a male coming into an environment where they're wearing, or even like if they just feel nervous or embarrassed or whatever, like to be in a crop top and shorts, and they felt comfortable now with this 8 women that they've been working with for about a year, to throw something that they're feeling uncomfortable into, like, I wouldn't want to do that to them either, because that is, like you said, it's when you're like, oh, my mates are now coming along, it's their safe space, it's their kind of way of expressing themselves and feeling good about themselves. So yeah, like I definitely think it'd be great having guys coming along, but it would definitely be something that you would approach with
as a fine line, because even as the man in that scenario, like you wouldn't want to make somebody feel uncomfortable, because obviously you're going there for the same purpose, but you can't control what somebody's been through in the past and what experiences they've had, definitely. And what triggers them to feel anxious or conscious about how they look.
I mean, you've not got a really good track record when it comes to like fitness and lassies, have you?
Adapt on that.
You heard the story about him. So basically, he was in a Pure Gym in Aberdeen and he's seen a lassie doing the splits. And obviously he does MMA, so he wants to be as flexible as possible. So he thought, I'm going to just go and ask the lassie how she managed to do that. So
honestly, and I was purely innocent. It was.
Did she
like,
not take it that way?
No, she didn't. No.
Oh, okay.
I seen it in her face as soon as I was just sitting next to her. I was like, that's quite impressive, that actually. And I was next to her stretching. I was like, I really want to. I really want to be able to do that. So I said, I was like, what sort of stretches do you get in the spots? I'm really trying to get better at it. And you should have seen her face. She was like, what the fuck's this guy on about? And then as soon as I heard it come out of my mouth, I was like, that was weird.
Yeah.
Like,
it shouldn't have been.
It shouldn't have been. It was purely innocent.
10 minutes off.
Once the ladies are away.
The thing is, I think that doesn't come back to like anything you've said or whatever. I think that more comes back to like how some women feel in a gym, because like, once again it is even now like it is still quite like a male dominant environment. Like I even like I do like a ladies only gym session just to like help them learn how to use the equipment and things. A lot of women even still call the free weights area on a gym the man section. You know, like, and that's how they see it, like heavy weights, that's man stuff. So like it's probably nothing well, maybe it was a bit inappropriate, nothing that you've literally said
absolutely
was how you felt.
It absolutely was inappropriate, there's no choice of it, but it was so innocent that it wasn't until I said it I was like, that was so weird, man. And I seen it, and she did actually answer me, to be fair to her, but I could see how creeped out she was by it. I get me, like, especially the free weight, but that's intimidating for some men. Even sometimes I go in and even there's like,
it intimidates me, like,
even when there's some fucking gorillas in there, I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not fucking lifting next to the guys.
But it shouldn't be like that. Everybody's on their own wee path, so just fucking do
and
it.
I think as well, it's like you always assume that people like in the gym who are like have the biggest muscles or like are the fittest or whatever, that they're really confident, whereas like they're probably not. They could be just as nervous as you are going in there and being in that environment, like just assuming that they feel really comfortable isn't always the case. That you often find that the people with the biggest muscles or whatever are actually the most self-conscious, and the reason that
they're actually doing
that. Like I'm big on personality these days. Honestly, you could fucking, if you want to lift 50 kilos and that, on you go. I'll stick to my 20s, but I can, I'm a sunder cunt. That's so fucking, what was that? I'm hopeless today. Honestly, my mind is absolutely fucking brain dead. Fuck it, we'll just pass that one. What was I going to say? But going back to the whole gym thing and how lassies feel uncomfortable when it's regarded as a man section and that, and you've got weirdos that, it's definitely still there. I see it every day, and it infuriates me. So I could be maybe watching a boy that's staring at somebody and I'm like, come on mate. And then I could maybe turn my eyes round and I maybe catch eyes with a lassie doing a squat and I'm like, I can't look at that because that makes me a bastard. But I feel like it shouldn't be like that. As long as you didn't just.
I know, I hate that. I actually, it was the other day I made eye contact with a lassie. It was in the mirror as well, which makes it even weirder. And I was like, fuck. I was like, to be fair, she was looking at me first there. And then like she walked over to a fucking bench, and as I was walking over, I was like, oh, she's gonna think I'm following her. And this, I was like, I was like, she's gonna think I'm following her here. Like, but I'm not. And it was like,
just so you know, we didn't think that.
I know, but
it's a strange one.
It's the folk that make like the inappropriate comments. It's the folk that like by the time you get home, they've sent you a message on Instagram. They're the weirdos. No, the folk that's like accidentally caught your eye in the mirror. Like, we're not fussed to do. But it's the folk that like try and spot you when you're doing a squat, even though you could probably squat twice as much as them, and you're like fucking back off me. Like, I'm fine.
I didn't care where folk get the balls for that.
I know. One of my girls was doing like pull-ups. Amazing that anyone can even do a couple, and one of them the coaches at the gym came up and was like, oh, you're not doing them quite right, and walked away. Just some guy thought he'd give his opinion on her doing pull-ups that she was.
But they didn't show her how to do it.
Just came up, let her know she was doing it wrong, and then walked away. And I'm like, that's the sort of shit. Like, we don't think you're following us. Like, you 100% know that you have to use other stuff at the gym. We're fine. Just don't be a dick. Like, don't insult us or like make inappropriate comments.
I just didn't care where folk have actually got the bottle to do things and that. Like, I seen a video, what was it, on Facebook, the boy's taking photos of the lassie, I reckon, if you've seen it.
Yeah.
And he's taking what? Like, so he's like maybe doing a bench press, saying there's a lassie next to him, like doing like a single leg squat and that. And he gets up and he just gets his phone, you can see him just tilting it and taking hundreds of photos of her doing a squat.
Oh my god. And I'm just
like, what are you... Like, granted, you've got what you gotta do with them then. That's not
so weird.
Yeah.
You've got to Google me. You didn't need to fucking be doing that. Christ almighty. I'm just like that can't be doing anything. Come on.
But like I sometimes feel that it's the people who like yourselves. You're saying like, oh, like you worry about that. You're the people that aren't the issue. Like we know sometimes that like. Guys probably feel more uncomfortable than
I genuinely do. I feel so uncomfortable going to the gym these days.
But the reason that you feel uncomfortable is because there's these weirdos that are doing these things. So rather than thinking like, oh shit, like she's thinking this,
she's
just be like, right, what's the other guys doing that's making her feel like that? Like if they can cut that shit out, then it would be totally fine.
There's obviously no getting through to them though if they're still doing it after all this time, can't I mean?
I trained my girl called Katie, and we trained together for 6 years, but one of my other friends like started coming to Pure with us, really good looking girl, and so me and Katie have been going maybe like 3 times a week for 6 years, never had any issues, no one really kind of bothered with them. I'd say like they kind of clear the area when we go in, and then like the next day she was like, oh, I totally love that gym session, but do you not like hate it when like you go home and like folk that have seen the gym message you? Me and Katie were like, never happened. Like, we have not had that problem once. She's like, yeah, I got a few messages, and we're like, damn it, like what are we doing wrong?
So she's got 7 in the morning, I'm in the morning.
Yeah. Before my breakfast.
How do people even know?
Like they must be
names
good
and that?
fucking inspectors, eh?
Aye.
Like she'd be like, right, I can't what she looks like now, I'm just gonna go on my phone and find her.
That's
pretty
weird, man.
dangerous, eh?
It's weird.
Oh,
I don't know how folk do it.
And that one of my mates got
Unless you're already
seen
ken the
it-
person.
Yeah, seen at the gym, and then they left like flowers on her car and like created a fake profile to message her, and then was like, oh, like I don't want to seem creepy. Like,
You went about the wrong way then.
Like maybe a hello would have been better.
That's the problem.
Like,
That's me. See, and I'm worried about making accidental eye contact with somebody, and then there's folk doing stuff
that's
like
what
that.
I mean. Like that's not the
Aye.
problem. Like 100% isn't the issue.
I think it's something that does need clarified though, eh?
It definitely does.
Because it is very uncomfortable for normal men.
I actually feel like wearing a sign in the gym. I might get a t-shirt made up.
Not like not
I'm,
a predator.
I'm no weirdo. If I make eye contact, I'm sorry.
I'm awkward, alright? I don't get the social etiquette of what's going on here.
Just here to lift the weights and go home, nothing else.
And learn the splits.
I done learn a split side. Sorry, lady in Aberdeen.
So in terms of the whole anxiety side of things, you said that you do struggle when you're anxious sometimes. You didn't come across as a very anxious person at all. You look very at ease.
Hands will be like,
But
I think she just hates people mostly.
Yeah.
Fuck it with you, anxiety.
nah, like I feel like for myself, like I know like I'm a confident person, and I've come across like Harris, so I know it drives him mad, but like if I'll do like something really sociable or whatever, and then like I'll need like a couple of days of like, I don't even want to say sleep, but you know, like you just can't really function, like need time off. Like even if I have like a night out or whatever, like I'll probably cry for about an hour before it,
Do you know what
I
she
get
is?
ready.
Tell them what you do on every night out.
I'll run away,
She
hallucinate.
just fucks off, runs away randomly.
Yeah, you know, and like
When
it's.
Kira's away, she's running to the house. Doesn't get a taxi.
I even leave
doesn't
him
get a bus.
like, yeah, I've left you up the town quite a
And then
few
she's told me,
times. I'm in the house with my dog.
What? In your stilettos?
Yeah,
She
it just gets too much. And
is
I'm
that like a fight or flight type thing? So you kind of get into a
not
scenario.
intentionally,
Aye.
but yeah, like I'll often just be like, oh well, I've had a good night. Lots of people. It's really busy. Like I don't like when people are really
Instead of
close
making
to
a
me.
fuss over everybody saying like goodbye.
Yeah, because people will try and hug me and I hate being touched, like absolutely hate being touched. Which by the way, I don't know why people do it. It's a very strange habit people have. And I'm sure
Hugging?
yeah, I don't get it at all. Like,
I'm a hugger, I love hugging folk.
I'm a hugger.
I don't know, it's just, it's nice, it's quite good for you I think too.
Aye, maybe like your friends
Endorphins
and
and
family.
that. Aye, I wouldn't go
just,
up
like,
hugging strays
I
and
know
that.
strangers, but see when
Aye.
like if I'm leaving and I'm going to see them tomorrow, just,
Aye,
what are you touching me for?
I'll maybe shake their hand but
Yeah,
I'd hug glasses
there's like 2 metre things being like, I've been thriving. Like absolutely great. I've never
the wee can of
understood it.
pepper spray how you fucking get
Yeah,
back.
so I think that's another reason like I don't tell folk I'm leaving, because folk will try and
Aye.
touch me.
Make a fuss.
Yeah.
So do you reckon that's why you do it? Just run away, just to avoid maybe the risk that somebody goes in for a cuddle?
Yeah, or like people will make you stay as well. I feel like I've got like I've been like sociable for 4 hours, like that's plenty. Like thanks for the night out. I've had a blast. Like I'm gonna go home to my dog, get in my onesie, and then post a picture acting the total opposite. Like I had night tonight, had a great one. I was sitting there with a cup of tea and my banana. That's what happened after a night out.
Does it work? Does it stop you from getting hung out?
Yeah, I don't
Does
really
it?
get hungover yet, but then I also do a tactical spew sometimes as well.
I get rid of it.
Yeah.
I always forget, like I always tell myself before I go out, before you go to bed, Jordan, have a couple of pints of water, you'll be so much better for it the next day. And I wake up the next day and I've not had anything, I'm like, oh no. speed's banging and that.
Yeah.
But I'll try a cup of tea, a banana and a litre of butter.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to start trying. But
So when did you start feeling like the anxiety? So at what age would?
So the first, I actually remember so clearly, like the very first time, it was for my fourth year exams. When like you look back, you're like, oh shit, like probably had more issues like longer ago. But like I just couldn't. Did either of you guys kind of anxiety?
I was especially exams and that, I was terrible.
So like I just feel like my body like couldn't really work. Like I just felt so heavy, and I remember like lying on my bedroom floor trying to blow dry my hair, and like I couldn't understand it. I was like my body just like didn't function. Like I could, like I was like I could, but it just felt so sore, so heavy. And I remember like I felt like really dizzy and sick, and I'm not someone that gets ill often, so I was like, oh, that's it, like this is me, like, and obviously it was the house phone back then, so I had to like slide down my stairs, like I was just like sitting, shimmying down my cat, like what the fuck is she up to? And I was like phoning my gran being like, I'm not okay, like,
I've just got visions of it.
If you could come and get me, that would be great. Yeah, so I ended up like being off for like the week of the exams, and then like on the Saturday I was like fine, like totally felt fine, like that was all, because obviously I had 2 exams the next week, but it was like PE and English, which I was fine with, and I felt totally fine. That was like the first time that I remember it like hitting like a physical symptom, and then that was when I was like, oh, like I had like more stages where I was like that, and I was like there's kind of like a pattern appearing here, and I know people find it like mad. Especially when like the job and stuff that I do, like people find it like really strange at how nervous and stuff I get. But yeah, like I get nervous just like leaving the house sometimes, like,
sure that I like, but you never ever like put yourself out as if you're nervous,
Yeah, and I think that's why people then almost like don't believe it. They're like, oh, like they can't be, like they don't look it or they don't act it, and it's like, well, what do you want it to act like? What do you want it to look like? It's
not really got a specific definition or what it looks like or that. Everybody's different, just like you're saying there, like basically like paralysed trying to hold it. Like, I've just got visions of the Wolf of Wall Street.
I'm gonna roll.
That's all I've got visions of when you're talking about it there.
It's weird, all the physical symptoms, but like even just over in the podcast that we've seen, like how different people are.
Like extreme weight loss. I can't even think, honestly, I'm brain dead.
Because yours was really like physical,
depersonalisation, so I felt like I was dead, and this was just like me kicking about. So I had to always like chuck water on my face to make sure I was real. So it was like my life was like a hell dream. It was fucking trippy, like, but it's meant I can still think it now. I genuinely thought I was dead. So I had to keep speaking to folk. Like I'd be lying in my bed, shout on my mum and dad, and if they didn't respond within like, I was like, that's me dead. That's me away. It's very, very strange.
Like what I get now, and like I get it when like I'm teaching and stuff, and I feel like people probably have started to pick up on it like the longer they come to my classes and like they see me, and this also shocks some people because I never speak about it, because it's not something that ever comes into conversation, especially when like we promote being confident and things. But yeah, so like mine's is like I'll just kind of go like really hazy, and then you like, I don't know, like you start speaking so that people don't know that you're kind of having like a bit of a panic, and then like I end up speaking stuff that makes no sense, and I like try and like run with it, and I just keep going, and then it's not until like kind of I can see and stuff again, so I get like really fuzzy eyes, and then I'm like looking like, does anybody notice? Like does anyone notice that I just spoke shit, or is this just people are just like, yeah, like sure, whatever. But yeah, I'd say that the like polls definitely like made me more confident, but like I was like, everyone's always like, oh yeah, you got like anxiety or depression, like, do a sport or get a hobby. It's like, it's not a cure, like these things don't,
I mean,
like, you need professional help, like if it's serious, like if you feel like it's severe, you need to get help. You don't need to like take up a hobby. Yeah, they'll kind of maybe make it a little bit easier to deal with, or like having more of a social circle, or you'll speak to more people or whatever, but like they're not cures for like
it's not going to be like, as soon as you find a hobby, you're going to wake up and you're going to feel brand new the next day.
Yeah, totally. It might give you like a coping mechanism, or like if you know, like if part of your thing is that you feel like you can't go out or whatever, and it gives you like that purpose to go out and people kind of to make you feel safe and comfortable. But yeah, like one thing I will always say is it's like a professional thing. Like mental illness is something that needs like professional help. It can't be cured by like self-care. Like you know, you can't put on a face mask and like do your nails and feel better. It's definitely something.
As much as all these little things that you do help.
They help, definitely.
It would be like taking paracetamol for like a long-term illness. It might maybe help the pain for a couple of years, but it's always going to come back. You need to actually get it investigated and looked at properly.
Definitely.
So,
100%.
see, obviously being for like a female primarily based environment at the pole dancing classes and stuff. See, when you have had feelings of anxiousness and that, you felt like you could speak to because boys are obviously different. We talk about how we never speak about it, and it takes alcohol for it to be spoken about, and it's not until the end of the night when folk are on a downer as it is anyway. So in terms of a lassie, from your point of view,
I'd say women are so much better at talking about it, but like I still feel like in general, probably like guys and girls as well, is that it's still like one of those things that it's like if you say something, so like for example like me speaking about something that made me feel anxious, it's still that kind of thing like, oh like don't worry about it, like, or oh yeah I've done that before, like don't. I feel like we're still not very good at like knowing what to say to somebody when you're feeling this way. But yeah, I would definitely say that girls speak about it really openly. Even like the messages we get about before girls come will often say I'm really nervous, or I've got really bad anxiety, or I'm coming because I've got depression. Like they'll be able to just say that straight away as soon as you meet them, like through a message. Whereas I very much doubt Harris will get the same kind of messages that we get. Like they're saying that they're coming because they want to feel more confident, and maybe they've got really low self-esteem. Like they're happy to like put that forward and say that, and it does make it easier as like a coach, because you're aware of, right, I maybe need to adapt what I'm doing tonight like ever so slightly, or I need to make sure like when they come in that they know exactly where everything is, or they need to know like everybody's name, like you know, just certain things that can help somebody feel more comfortable. But we've got, I'd say like, I actually think it's probably quite similar to like MMA and stuff. Like it does tend to attract people who do have things like anxiety, depression, low self-esteem and things, because they're looking for like an outlet, they're looking for somewhere to go to kind of feel better about themselves, whether it's like the health and fitness side of it, or whether they've seen on Facebook that it's a total community. It's not just like going to a gym where you go in and do your session and leave. Like you are, like, how do you make friends as an adult? Do you know what I mean? Like it's such a weird thing. Like you have to kind of join like a club or whatever, and if you
have to go out, you can't. And you can't just like, it's not like being a kid where your mum makes you like use your pals, like there's a new pal for you. Like, you've got to like go out your way to do it, which unless you join like a club and whatever, and like if you even like look on like their Facebook page or that, whether it's like the Carousel one or Goliath, like you'll see everyone chatting and stuff and whatever, and I feel like people are drawn to that to think like they want to be part of that, and I do think that can help a lot of people. It definitely does help, like
especially now with just fucking again I read a book. He's been fucking turning into me because I've been reading loads, but it was
I'm not a fan of reading it.
It's just causing me a fucking dweeb all the time. But it was a part of it was going into loneliness and how much that actually affects people, and I can't remember what it, but I can't remember what the chemical is, but it releases the same amount of chemicals that it is that when you're in a physical fight. It's like a stress hormone that gets released when you're lonely, and it's you actually get more released when you're lonely than when you're in a physical fight. So it just shows you like how much like being part of that community actually can affect you.
Totally.
Because me and you, we're quite lonely.
We are, mate.
There's no
actually,
I'm going to start agreeing. No, but I kind of what you mean about that, but I didn't care anything about hormones or that. I'm not very educated.
I'll give you the book. Stuff, the book's really good. It's called.
Waste your time, mate.
I think this one you actually do need to read. I think this is an important one.
Has it got pictures in it?
Actually has.
Is it?
No, it hasn't. Lost Connections it's called. I think for anybody that's struggling with stress and anxiety, it's a must read. It sort of goes into like it's a wee bit of controversial a controversial book, but it sort of goes into like how antidepressants don't really work, or don't work for.
That is very controversial. I'm not going to say anything,
it's
but
not like he
I don't
gives.
agree with him.
He gives 9 reasons in the book why people suffer from depression and anxiety, and he says, and through his research, he says only 2 of those reasons actually need medical assistance. The rest of them can be done through what you do in your own personal life. I've not suffered from anxiety and depression, so I don't know. I'm just reading it like purely as an education sort of thing, but it's a good book though. It's worth a read. I'll give it. I'll give it when I'm nearly done it. I've nearly done it. I've nearly finished it. So
I'm doing audio books. That count?
Aye.
Yeah,
So there we go. I read. Well, listen.
I feel like podcasts and stuff as well are kind of
So
like
educational,
along the same lines as reading and stuff.
Aye.
And
I'm
more
Rhonda
people are
Patrick.
doing it.
Is that her name?
Rhonda Patrick.
I'm
Aye.
daft about her, the like, she's so intelligent. But no, it's good. But so see, in terms of when you are feeling anxious and stuff, obviously you say you get that haze and that, so it's nearly like that situation you can't really find a coping method. Well, you say you speak. Just speak. It might be a load of shite, but you speak to just kind of.
And I feel like
it'll
that
go
always,
away at some point.
Yeah, it's almost like me like denying it to myself, like, and I'm aware like it happens when I'm like in group, like I'm not really good in like people like being really close to me, like I don't like crowded situations, and so even things like if I was like opening the door for a pole class and everyone's walking past me, I would just speak like, and sometimes I just like afterwards like no one's looking weird at me so I'm like, it must have been fine. Don't really know what I said, like don't really know who's here yet, but I'll just give myself a minute, have a wee drink of water and then we're good. But it's like weird because it's not even like situations that I'm not overly comfortable in, like it could be people that you're more than comfortable around and stuff, and still I don't know, it just not voluntary.
It's just the way your brain's maybe interpreting it.
Definitely.
I think it sounds like it's maybe something related with claustrophobic, being
Yeah,
claustrophobic.
well, like I hate like lifts and stuff as well. Like I
Aye.
don't like lifts. Neither does Bronson. I had him in a
That's
lift
the-
at my grand's.
That's the mascot, the carousel going on.
Yeah, I had him in a lift at my grand's and he didn't like it at all. He got really out of breath. But yeah, I feel like coping wise, like, because it's not something like I've ever really figured out like exactly what triggers it, so it's like I can't really catch myself before it happens. But yeah, crying I suppose, like, and I feel like
Crying, aye.
like that's, a lot of people are like that's like a not a good thing, but like so many girls like we'll just sit and cry, and I actually think that's so good for us and for people. Like even like if you think like every time like girls get drunk together, we just have a wee cry, tell each other all our problems, boom, done, we feel great the next day. I feel like that's something like maybe more men should adopt, is just like just sit and greet to somebody.
Aye.
I was greeting at the telly yesterday, right before I went to work. You ever seen that repair shop? The
Oh
programme?
mate, that's fucking aye.
This lassie went in with this like teddy bear that was, honestly, it was knackered after. And she had cerebral palsy, so she was telling the story in the background behind it. She must have been about 60-odd and obviously fucking done an absolute smashing job on this. And the lassie's like obviously disabled and she's bubbling and greeting, and that. I was like, oh my god. But
It's the one where like their houses have been destroyed by like a bad builder. I just can't deal with those. And it's like the wee old couple are saying, you know, how like the draft's getting in now, and I'm just like, Jesus.
Mind that programme that Move That Bus programme, what was that? What, Extreme Makeover Home Edition, mind that? Fucking hell, that was a tearjerker and all. This wifey's brought in 30 wains off the street and they're on 2 rooms and they get a fucking mansion
she
built for her.
deserves it.
Aye.
I don't know if that's the same kind of therapy as greeting. You can't, I mean, like, obviously we're crying at something, but we're not crying at something that we've been sad
But you
at.
don't know, like, is that actually just like an excuse
Just
for
a
you to
release.
figure out
Aye.
something? Like, were you really upset about the teddy bear, or have you actually just had a shit day
Oh,
and
it was
that's
a-
just like
Just a
pushed
wee-
you to the edge?
I think it can be a bit of both, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I know I'd agree with that. Like greeting music's a good release too.
Yeah.
Like listening to sad songs, putting yourself in the shittest place ever,
Yeah.
so you grieve.
Get Lewis Capaldi on it,
Danny.
I think that's why like pole as well is so good, because like there's classes or like we do like training that where like you're just putting music on, you're just dancing, and I think that's like so underrated. Just like moving to
Do you
music.
do like
and stuff.
theatrical music?
Personally, no, but
That's what we're
if that's
doing,
what
Scott.
you wanted to do, then
I'm a sucker for a bit
100%.
of orchestra.
Yeah, like quite a few comps in that'll have like all different types of music, I guess. But it's not something I particularly blast during my hour class or anything. But I feel like if someone requested it, then they're like, that's gonna make me feel better. I'd be like, fucking get that on, 100%.
I mean, this isn't even orchestra, but I've been listening to that Shallow song by Bradley Cooper all morning.
Bradley
Unbelievable.
Cooper.
Is that him and
Aye.
Lady Gaga?
I mean,
That
Lady
one?
Gaga at Star Is Born.
Oh, right, I think I've seen that. Aye, I don't know the song though.
Tremendous. That's a really good film if you want to talk about mental health.
And if you want to greet.
Aye, and if you want to talk about the way alcohol can have an effect on
Aye.
that.
I think I actually had to turn that off.
Did you?
Aye,
Aye. It's bad, like.
aye. After the, I don't want to put any spoilers in, but after, in case somebody hasn't seen it, but after the thing is,
Aye.
I was like, nope,
No, for
not
me,
dealing with that.
Aye, it's a sin, like.
That is rough.
But aye, if you wanted, this is the part where if you've got any bit of advice you'd want to give to anybody listening, this is your chance. Or if you want to even bring anything up you want to feel like it needs an audience to listen to, then you have the reins.
Oh God,
We always end the podcast on this, so if you do have, it could be something completely unrelated to mental health, as long as you finish on something to do with mental health, but
unrelated.
Not to do it, but bring it back, please.
right, but I mean chicken tikka myself for tea tonight, and in turn that will make me feel great.
One thing, like I always say this, and I kind of like preach this to people as well, is like social media mainly based. It's like the whole like be kind thing, and how it's like I think everyone's promoting something that they're not actually
Natural
putting
doing.
into
Aye.
practice, and I think we're really getting confused, like as a society in general, over free speech and being fucking rude.
Aye.
Like, you know, like everyone's like, oh, but like I've got the right to have this opinion, and it's like, oh no, like you actually don't.
No, you
like
don't.
you can keep that opinion to yourself. Like no one needs to hear that. And I do think that that's like more so on social media and things. So basically, my one bit of advice would be to people, just keep it to yourself. Like shut up. Like stop putting your opinion where one, it's not asked for, and two, the main point is to degrade somebody. Like if you genuinely think that your bit of advice could help them, speak to them, drop them a private message. Like if you don't know them personally enough to do that, you're probably not in a position to say anything.
Aye.
Because I feel like for yourself, like saying that you're having to come off Instagram because it's like not good for you, and it's because people are talking so much shit just now to each other, at each other, putting their opinions places that it shouldn't be, and it's not asked for. And then you go on the page and it's got this little circle and it says be kind at the side. And you're like, be kind to who? Like, who the fuck are you being kind to? Being kind by giving your like unasked for opinion. Like, no, keep that to yourself.
Aye, I hate when folk do that, man. It really fucking, and it's just the folk that I've worked with, and it tends to be, and I'm not trying to stereotype here, but the people I've met, it tends to be middle-aged women who go, look, I just say what I feel, and if you can take it or leave it.
I have the right to my opinion.
No, you fucking didn't.
Yeah,
Shut up.
Totally, 100%.
If it's not nice, keep it to yourself, pal.
Yeah. What happened to like bitching to your pal? You know what I mean? Like you see something on like Facebook you didn't like, cool. Like phone your mate up and be like, holy hell, you see what Sharon posted a picture. You know, if I can do that, so actually writing comments that you would never say to somebody's face.
Aye.
I 100% agree with that. Like I've got no time for it. Some folk I think just do it to have somebody to speak to, I think, so they can get a bite.
And
Because
they feel important by saying it.
like I look at all the Fife Jammers pages, like the posts that they put up, and they had a post a couple of weeks ago when that boy was on the Queensferry crossing ready to jump, and you've got all these folks saying I hope he gets the right help he needs, and then you get the one cunt, hurry up and do it so we can get the traffic moving.
Yeah.
Like you can't seriously mean that. Like you just want cunts to interact with you, you know what I mean? But and it's similar, like what happened, what was it last week, the headstones at Dunfermline Cemetery, did you see that? Like I wouldn't surprise me if that made world news. It's fucking sick.
Aye.
You've got
Like, who
to
does
wonder
that?
what is in these people's heads. So like this is when you've also got to like think like what kind of help are they needing?
I can.
What background have they came from that has got them to the position where they think that is, what do they think is funny, they think it's appropriate? Like you've got to ask, like, are these people that should be just kicking around? Like 100% not.
I think that's got to have been kids.
Even if it
There's
is,
But
no-
even if it is, like, these are not
there's
like,
no
should
excuse
be,
for that.
No,
like,
there,
kicking around normal schools and
nah,
stuff. Like, no way.
there isn't, but that would only maybe take one person and then the rest get caught up. I think if that's what it's been, I think you can give more leeway to, like, I done stuff when I was younger, but I look back now and go, what the fuck
You
were
wouldn't
you
be painting
thinking?
somebody's headstone, but
Nah.
No, but I've still done stuff that I wasn't proud of.
I mean, I'd hope whoever done it didn't ken the significance what a headstone is. Or
Aye,
or
aye.
that. I hope they thought, it's
Aye,
just
just
a bit
a
of fucking rock
I know.
with somebody's name on it. They didn't actually care what it is.
Yeah.
But,
But even if that is
they
the
could
case,
spell COVID, so
Yeah.
they fucking do ken what
But
it is.
even if like that is the case, then something's went seriously wrong previous
Oh,
to them
it's-
doing that probably needs looked into. So even if it is kids or something, either
Aye,
seriously
definitely
fucking
needs-
wrong at home
aye.
that needs looked into, or if it's an adult, then they should not be kicking around the streets.
No.
Like either way, it's something that's
So
I've
cowardly,
actually,
man.
I've
It was-
actually got a question you might have very mixed opinions on. I might get absolutely hounded. if that is.
Spit out now.
But I didn't ken in 2021 you're not allowed to hit a child, like scalp their arse if they're out of order. What is your views on that?
I think it depends. There is obviously a thing. I never got hit at all,
Not me neither.
and
Oh, I got scalped.
and it just depends on the
was a big
individual.
fan of
But
I kind of think like if you've got no other way of disciplining your kid, you maybe need to look at why not. Do you know what I mean? Like if
Aye.
the only way that you can get them to do what you want or punish them is by smacking them, maybe you need to look at like something else. Like if that's the stage that you're at where you've, and as well, like are you hitting them because you've no control? You're that angry that you're hitting
Aye.
them. Like you need to have
Aye.
a look at that and like why, like ask yourself like, right, why is my only option here to smack them? Right, why can I not talk to them? Why would shouting at them not work? Why can I not punish them in another way? Why do I have to hit them in order to get the result that I
Aye.
want? And I feel like if your first go to is to smack your kid,
Aye,
then,
I don't agree with that at all. But I
Yeah.
feel like if you're really needing to get a point across, and somebody's not listening, because I ken it was me when I was wee. If I wasn't listening, I ken as soon as I got belted, I'd like never.
But
get
I'm
again.
not listening to anything that Hannah says, and I swear if he fucking hit me, do you know what I mean? And I don't understand why that would be seen any
My mum and dad's going to end up
different
getting taken to jail. I'm sitting here disclosing it and that. I completely agree with it. That's just my personal opinion. I didn't get me wrong. I didn't want to see folk like scalp their bairns and that. But for example, if that was my bairn out painting somebody's headstone,
Oh, yeah.
it'd be more than fucking
oh, you would leather them. There's no toys about it.
That's the thing though, is then like where do you draw the line and when do you decide what's acceptable?
Acceptable,
Right,
aye.
how hard do I hit them? Right, well they've done something last week and I just hit them a wee bit. They've done something 10 times worse this week. What do I do? Do you know,
Aye.
like,
There's no one to escalate to.
yeah, like,
Aye.
where do you know, like if they've done something a wee bit wrong, you ground them for a day. Right, you ground them for a week if it's something bigger. Do you hit them harder? Do you hit
I
them?
used to hate getting grounded, man.
Well, there you go. That probably would have worked
That was
even more than
shit.
getting smacked.
I'd actually
like,
go out my way to do the dishes and everything. As soon as I got grounded, I'd be like, come on, let me out.
yeah, I just think there's a lot of other ways that you could
Aye.
deal
I
with
think
something.
I just don't know what I get. Obviously, I'm not a parent, so like I've never felt that frustration really. Where
totally.
you feel that? What else can I do
mean, I
here?
hope-
Like
I hope nobody ever feels that frustration, but they do.
if they do, of course they do. Aye,
Yeah.
because
Like,
bairns are a
I've got
fucking
niece in
nightmare. There's
that,
no two ways
and there's
about
times
it.
where she's like, I'm like that, you little rude bastard. I would never belt her like that, but I'm like that. Go and fucking
But you
tell her.
can't then tell them no to like smack one of their mates, even
Aye.
if it's something that annoys them.
Aye.
So it's like how do you? I feel like it's a sketchy line to cross because I feel like once you start it, like
Aye.
it's like when you hear folks say to their kids, "Don't you fucking swear." You're just
Aye.
like that is like kind of the same thing. Like they're obviously going to swear if you swear in front of them and stuff. So
Aye.
it's a really, I don't know, it's quite a fine line in it. Like
I can remember growing up, I feel like there was like an age you got to where you were allowed to swear. Like, I've got an older sister that's 4 years older, so she got to about 16, 17, she started doing swear words, and I used to be like, I can't wait till I can swear. And then I'm sitting here swearing like a fucking trooper.
I've only sworn in front of my mum once.
I don't think I'd
Have you?
ever.
Aye.
Oh, bad.
And it was I got too drunk and went for a wee sleep outside WH Smith and got picked up and taken to fucking hospital. And I told the nurse to fuck off. My mum was there,
That's bad though.
and I woke up and that was the first thing she said. You swore to that nurse. I was like, "Are you here?" Aye. Oh no, life's over.
I swear a lot, but
I think that's why I swear so much because
me.
aye, because in the house I wasn't allowed, so
You held it in.
as soon as I come out, I'm like, fuck!
Does that make me an influencer?
You're an influencer, fucking bad one at that.
So, just before we call it a day, troops, have you anything else to add?
I don't think so, mate. It's been
Thanks very much for that.
Thank you very much.
It was the first kind of insight we've had into like women in sport and how they can maybe be not mistreated, but how it can maybe affect them, and how there needs to be more done in terms of coaching on a personal level instead of in group scenarios and stuff.
Aye.
But thanks very much for
Thank
that.
you.
No worries.
Aye.
Thanks for having
And
me.
fingers crossed you can get another studio or something else
Yeah,
arranged.
hopefully.
And me and Scott will
Aye,
do
we'll be
the
there.
bells on.
Aye,
Great.
we'll be the first two customers.
I'll get a couple of bells.
Aye, Belt, aye, you can wear the heels.
I actually wore heels when I was a bear, and I was actually quite good in them.
At least you got a pole to hold on to. It's not as if you're just having to like walk about in them.
But it's getting to the pole, I think that'd be trouble.
Get into the pool, aye.
Crawl there. It's like that's what we all do.
I've not got the legs for it, man.
Oh, but the
That's
cash.
because you don't eat pole.
Think of the
I
cash.
don't have the
Think of the
legs.
cash you'll have if they're having a couple of sets of heels and that. But aye, thanks very much.
Aye.
And
No problem.
I'm sure we'll speak again.
I
in
will
the
do it
future.
again, definitely.
Cheers.